I read a full stack of indies this week. Let's talk about which ones made the nice list. Howdy, howdy, American Texan here, and I love to talk about comic books, specifically the stories, the art, and actually looking into the books. So whether you actually go to your comic shop and read through the floppies yourself, or you subscribe or buy them digitally, we're here to just nerd out about the really fun stuff. And if you want to talk about comics and everything inside, the stories, the characters, and of course the art, feel free to subscribe down below if you like this content. I try to do reviews or really just kind of my thoughts on comic books. I'm no pro reviewer, as well as sharing what I get from my store every week because I am a Wednesday warrior. So I went through all of the indies for this week. Dick Tracy, Supernatural, G.I. Joe, Ghost Pepper, Power Fantasy, Conan, Savage Sword of Conan, Racer X. There's probably a couple more in here. I had way more on my read list than I got to actually read. So let's go over to the table and let's talk about what I read and get to my top 3 for the week. All right, taking a look at the indies we got this week. I still didn't get through them all, man. Christmas is just such a busy time. Oh no, Junkyard Joe, not reporting for duty. Let's get him picked back up. I did not get to read all of the indies that I got for the week. I did not get to read Savage Sword of Conan Reforged #2. I also did not get to read Youngblood issues 1 and 2, so I'll have to read those over Christmas break. But I did read a good chunk of indies here, so let's get into it in no particular order except the final 3, maybe final 4, because I couldn't pick a top 3. We've got Racer X here, #4. This one continues to be fantastic. If you like car chases, car shows with a little bit of a sci-fi twist, right? Because the cars can have like special abilities like chainsaws and be able to jump. This one's fantastic. Now, Racer X is, of course, focused around Racer X, not the main character Speed Racer, but you get to see a little bit of a side story that's happening concurrently with the main story. So they're in a race in the main story, and you get to see why Racer X is making the decisions in the race as you see it unfold in the main story. So this is a lot of fun. I wouldn't recommend it, just read it by itself, but if you are reading Speed Racer without Racer X, what are you doing, man? It's like eating queso without chips. Go ahead and get the chips. They're delicious. Surprisingly, not on my top 3, but still a great read, Conan 27. And by the way, I need to get better about the credits here. So Racer X #4 was Mark Russell and Nuno Platti. Fantastic art. Conan #27, surprisingly not on my top 3. This one's by Jim Zub and Don Nino. And we've got Conan, the story of him ascending the throne to become the king of King Conan. And so we get a little bit of the backstory of how he came in and was really embraced by the people, and the Mad King being the Mad King. And this issue, the only reason it's not on my top 3 is because it's mostly dialogue. It's mostly setup. You can see as I go through here, I'm already almost halfway through the book, and there's not much going on. And then at the back, there is a very cool battle. In fact, a very cool prison escape scene that I love the way it's illustrated. But it just wasn't enough to put in the top 3, but still a fantastic issue. And longtime Conan fans, I'm sure will love this way more than I could, because I just haven't gotten to know Conan over the years. So I'm still new to this. The unveiling of King Conan, how he became king. I didn't realize that they never really explained how he became king. It's just some stories he is and some stories he's not. So this is a very interesting read. I just don't have that long time fan following of Conan. So anyways, it's still a great read, a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see what happens, especially with the way that it ends. Also, very tough to not put in my top 3, Space Ghost #6 by David Pepose and I think it's Jonathan Lau. Man, what a fantastic issue here. When you hear space vampires, you could take it in 2 ways. You could try to make a story that is cheesy, over the top, and just kind of whatever, or you can make a story that's like B-movie horror. And what Pepose did here was none of the above, and actually made a really cool sci-fi adventure in space, sticking with the family themes throughout. And yes, I mean, it's on the cover, right? I mean, Space Ghost does become a vampire. He gets bit and he gets the vampiric gene. But the way the vampires work in this issue is that they are really only vampiric when they're around the king vampire. So it's kind of like Supernatural with the king vampire. He is disgusting. He's got like a 3rd tooth in the middle. It's wild. You can see it right here. So it's very interesting, and the kids got to figure it out. And I know some people say they don't like the kids constantly having to save Space Ghost, but I can see where they're coming from. I can even agree sometimes, but they never have the kids save Space Ghost because Space Ghost is incompetent. Space Ghost is very incompetent, but sometimes he has to split up. He has to work as a team. It is a team effort. And in this case, he does unfortunately sacrifice himself and get bit. So the kids got to figure out how to free him. So fantastic issue. I won't go further than that one. I really, really enjoyed this one. 4.5, maybe even a 5 out of 5. Going into a little bit of the lulls for the week for me, but still on the pull list, Power Fantasy #14. This is going to hopefully finish at 16. I don't say hopefully like, man, this is so bad, put it out of its misery. But I think that the story that they're telling has a great opportunity to take an off ramp at 16. So this is number 14 by Kieran Gillen and Casper Wingard. And I'm assuming the J and stuff is silent. We've got focusing around Eliza and the kid. Heavy's been comatose by Etienne, and now Etienne is full on really dead, like deady dead. We find out a little bit more about who he's messed with in the past and how he's messed with it. And now they're coming to terms that really a lot of what was going on was due to Etienne trying to keep everything together. And now that he's gone, you got some people like Matsumi taking personal responsibility. You've got others that are maybe not so much. So very interesting story. I really, really enjoyed. Nothing too special about this single issue, but really setting up, I think, to where we can go. How great the stakes are on a drama level. Just a really great read. Ghost Pepper, I said that this was going to be make or break for me, and they just barely made it. First of all, we start off with a really insane car chase. I love this car chase. And I'm not a car guy. You know, I'll see Fast and Furious if I'm just bored, but I'm not going to like go on opening day. But man, this car chase here is really awesome. And we don't really know when it takes place. It kind of looks like it might be the future because then they step back and things are kind of exactly where we left off. We find out this guy kind of eats the ghost peppers as a coping mechanism, almost like a drug. He's the only one that can eat them, and it kind of calms him down. The art still is fantastic. We get a little bit more about the characters, and you know, it's not a break, but I think every issue right now, until they, you know, keep it going, until they really sell me on what's happening, is still going to be make or break. So I could very easily get the next issue, and it's just okay. That wasn't for me. So that was Ghost Pepper number 6 by Ludo Lullaby, and I think he writes and draws it. And yeah, Lucas colors it. So that's pretty good. Not great, but good enough to keep me interested for another issue. Moving right along, this one is the lowest grade of the week for me. This is by Greg Pak and let's see, a lot of artists, way too many artists. Messias is the primary artist on this. This is Supernatural number 3, but as you can see, it was not very good in the second issue, and it's even worse in this issue. This issue has 4 different artists. Is that 4 or 5? I can't even count. There's 5 different artists. So every couple pages, the art changes, and it's just very distracting. The story itself is a pretty basic Supernatural story, but there's an art change. You keep going. I skip 2 pages, and then there's another art change. Obviously, some of the artists are better. So here we go. Now it looks like a global comic. It's just, and that's, I shouldn't say that, but that's what it looks like. It looks more amateurish. And it just doesn't fit with the whole vibe of the book. And so they really had to figure this out. I don't know if they couldn't decide, so they want to have everyone take a crack at it, or I'm really hoping it's a what do they call that? The French cut. There was an episode where they got really meta, where the characters in Supernatural broke through the dimension and realized they were actually the characters on the TV show. It was a really great episode. I'm hoping they're gonna do something like that. Like maybe something in the extra dimension is dealing with the artist and making the world look different. That's the only way out I can see from this. Otherwise, it's getting kind of concerning because the art just needs to be more consistent than it is. The story itself was okay, but the art really hampered it as well. So getting a little iffy on that one. Top 3. Let's go into the top 3 of the week. We got Dick Tracy, number 14 by Alex Segura and Michael Morikai and artist Geraldo Borges. And man, this one is really good. We got Dick Tracy still dealing with some of his World War II memories and some of it coming back to haunt him. And we're actually going up against real honest to God Nazis. And these are not good guys. This is not projectionism. This is not name calling. This is not what many people try to write as modern Nazis. This is good, honest to God. Not good, but honest to God, World War II Nazis that you just want to see get thrown down a deep, deep pit with spikes at the bottom. And we got the Summer Sisters doing some more heisty stuff. I mean, just a lot of great action in this one. Really great writing. Dick Tracy dealing with his past. You got some other bad guys coming back from, I don't know, from the dead, but they're coming back that escaped. You got this other detective, Sam, that's kind of doing the detective work while Tracy is kidnapped. And just a fantastic issue overall. This is a really great issue. Dick Tracy is a solid read. Doesn't really resonate all the time to make it to like the top 3, but Dick Tracy has been solid every single issue. No letdown so far after over a year. So I highly recommend it if you haven't jumped in yet. And issue 14 was no exception. I did not read this week's Savage Sword of Conan, but I did read last month's Savage Sword of Conan Reforged. This is issue 1 by actual, the original Savage Sword writers and artists, but now it's just been colored. So of course you've got Howard, Thomas, Windsor Smith. But as far as the coloring, I don't know where the colorist, let's see here. Maybe there's different colors per story. I don't know where the credits would be, but I should be a better YouTuber and look that stuff up. But we got the Frost Giant's daughter, Not going to be flipping through this one willy-nilly because, you know, Frost Giant's daughter, there is some adultness to it. But, you know, he does come and take over after a battle. We can show that page. And the art's classic Conan. And I've only read a few classic Conans, but the art looks great. And the coloring is very respectful to the original art. And so that's all been fantastic. And of course, we find out, spoiler alert, it was all a dream, but maybe not, because he has a memento from the dream of the Frost Giant's daughter. Very interesting. Got a great essay there on some of the backgrounds. And then we get into the poem by Robert E. Howard. And this one's colored by João Canola. There's the credit right there. So it's just a poem with lots of beautiful art. I really, really love that. And it's basically Conan coming home from a kill, and then he gets pounced and he has to kill again. And I think he leaves empty-handed. So I'm not sure what that's about. But then you go into the Tower of the Elephant. I did get the trade, the nice, beautiful new trade that came out with it. But it's nice to read the original, not the original story, but the original comic version. I believe this is the original comic version. The first time the Tower of the Elephant was put into sequential art. And man, this was just absolutely gorgeous. Again, the coloring does not take away from the original illustrations. And it just absolutely looks gorgeous. It looks like they didn't edit a thing. In fact, there was something in here that I was like, wow, I'm surprised they didn't edit that out. But I'm glad they didn't, right? I don't want them to touch the original art. There are things that are incredibly offensive, incredibly inappropriate. But I think it's good to keep that in there for not perpetuity, but what's the word I'm looking for? Let me know in the comments down below. But not in memorial either, because we don't want memorials. We just want to keep the art the way it was. All right. So great Tower of the Elephant art there. So this was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed it. The only thing I noticed, people were talking about it on League of Comic Geeks, the only criticism I have of it is the quality. So it's not on newsprint because they colored it, but the pages are a little thinner than what like Marvel or DC prints. And it doesn't look bad, but it does suffer because you can see here, the cover's all already messed up, and I'm very gentle with my books, but the cover's all messed up. Not that I care about grading. The spine is really fraying here. Just an interesting choice as far as the material. But my read of the week is actually G.I. Joe number 16 by Joshua Williamson and Tom Riley. We got the Dreadnought War 4 of 5, and this one is just everything to the wall action, coming to the climax of Dreadnoughts kidnapping Duke and Cobra Commander, and then some of the G.I. Joes come. We got a little bit of back and forth here as far as Destro, but just really beautiful action here. I know some people don't care for the coloring on this. I am totally fine with it. It's comic booky, it's fun, and just everything you can hear. Yo, Joe, we've finally got that moment. And just absolutely just stunning. I mean, I sat here and I think I read it 2 times because the action was so much fun. It does have a crazy last page here. I won't spoil for you, but it is a lot of fun. If you have not started pulling this one, I highly, highly recommend the trade. That's my pick of the week. So there you have it, my top 3 for the week. And I am super sad because literally between filming that and this outro, I learned that Dick Tracy is going to wrap up. It's ending. I'm assuming on issue 16, but this is it. And I also heard that Alex Segura really only had like 1 arc and they wanted to extend it. And kudos, Alex, because you did a fantastic job writing, well, so far 14, but I'm hoping eventually 16 issues of great detective stories. Absolutely amazing. And of course, Savage Sword of Conan, I hope to get through issue 2 and then read issue 3 on time. And G.I. Joe, the Dreadnought Wars was just such a blast. Did you check it out? That's Conan. I don't know. I got it somewhere in this huge stack. But did you check it out? What did you think about any of these books? Leave a comment down below and let's nerd out in the comics. Thank you guys for watching. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you all in the next video. Adios.